Tony D and Little Joan about to go to bed. Just one more quick video. Clownfish TV is reporting that an insane man got naked at Disney, climbed a roof, and terrified some kids. Um, I don't know how terrifying it is. It's pretty strange. Um, I just gotta say, back in the day, you know, I went to Disney World as a kid. I think I was like 16, maybe a little younger. Me and my brother and my parents went. And during that era, we never heard anything about the kinds of incidents that seem to be happening in the Disney parks now. Never heard of people fighting. There's been fights in the park. Uh, Never heard of some of the criminals that were arrested for, let's just say, bad things. They did bad things to children. A handful of employees were caught in various rings. This There's been reports of rides breaking down, fires, rides not being repaired. Nothing like that that I recall ever happened at Disney. Now, I don't live in Florida. I live in New Jersey. We have a park in New Jersey called Great Adventure in Jackson. That park had its issues. Nothing too well. One major thing. The minor things back in the '80s were they had a roller coaster that would sometimes derail into a lake, and nobody was hurt. But they did have a fire that made national news. Some people were killed, um, and that's God. That had to be like 30 years ago. Um, but beyond that, no, never heard anything at Disney World, Disneyland. Never. And now it just seems that all the time you hear stuff. I don't know if it's the changing customer base, the changing times, or some sort of combination of the two, or that perhaps Disney changed its policies regarding certain HR things, stuff like DEI, but beyond that, they also changed. They used to have a policy you couldn't have piercings and tattoos exposed and that kind of thing. To me, that implied a sort of you couldn't have certain dye. You couldn't dye your hair, like that implied that they ran a tight ship. They wanted their employees to be disciplined. Since they've opened up those rules, you could argue they're a nicer employer to work for. But do you really want to be on vacation and having to deal with a clerk who's got a million piercings and blue hair and various pronouns? I don't really want to deal with that. Now, they might be friendly and perfectly professional, but that doesn't look professional. The look of it is, I think, off-putting sometimes, but also it indicates a certain lack of discipline amongst the crew. Right? It's hard to take someone seriously, and if something crazy like this happens, and you saw a security guard and he's got various piercings and he's got a weird haircut and a bunch of tattoos, are you going to run up to him and say, "Oh my God, you need to help me"? I think you might hesitate. You know, um, and it doesn't really fit with the theme of Disney being sort of kid friendly and at the same time being run by adults. There's also a new trend these days of face tattoos, which I absolutely do not get. I mean, you're getting a face tattoo. You're basically saying to the world, I do not want a regular job ever. Um, I mean, it's legal to get them. You're allowed to get them. Can't stop you. I just don't know why you would do it unless you're in a gang that demands that of you. Um, so I think Disney. I really think it's headed for a situation in which they're going to have to sell major portions of their business to stay afloat, and they're going to have to downsize. I think the Chinese want to buy them out, but I don't think they're capable of doing it. And I don't think the current climate in the U.S. would even allow it. I think the FTC would come down on them like a bag of hammers and find every excuse in the book not to let them sell to China. But they may get bought by someone like Apple. I think Apple could buy them. They certainly have the money. Maybe it's Apple that wanted to see this happen so they could get it at a cut rate. I don't know. But now they have their own TV streaming service. I don't know why they'd even need Disney at this point, other than they would pick up their IPs. But I don't think the corporate entities are particularly good at making movies, TV shows, comics, and video games. They're good at financing them. They're good at cutting a bunch of corners, or not cutting a bunch of corners, but just cutting the money back to some extent. But they kind of don't know where to cut, and they kind of don't know where to spend their money, I think. In media is different, right? With an iPhone, if you make an iPhone and it works really well, that's all you need to do. The rest is all gravy. The aesthetics, the functionality and all that kind of stuff. As long as the thing works really well and is relatively intuitive, people aren't going to complain that the iPhone is pink or green or brown or whatever. With movies, TV shows, anything that's story-based has to have a good story. It has to have certain things. There has to be vision in there, imagination, creativity. It's crucially important to any project. And if you're not hiring the right people, you just won't get that. You can't micromanage your way into a hit movie. You just can't. AI can't do it for you. It cannot think of something new and dynamic. It can only regurgitate what it knows. Maybe it can make suggestions that would lead you somewhere, but it can't actually do the work. People are worried about AI. Writers do not have to worry about AI. Not the good ones, anyway. We still have the same problem, and that is to get the guys with money to recognize us. But circling back, Disney, I feel, I think they're in big trouble. I mean, stuff like this got to hurt the park. You read an article like this, do you want to go to Disneyland? Do you want to pay all that money and have your kids see a naked man climbing a roof? I don't think you do. But that's just me. Anyhow, that's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. I got to get to bed. We'll see you tomorrow.